Downplaying. We have all been guilty of it. It doesn't matter what game you play, your character is always harder than everyone else's. Weaker too. You always have to work harder than everyone else to get wins. Nerf everyone except my character. Certain subgroups downplay more than others. Jin players are monkeys, so it's understandable that they lack the brain capacity to even understand their character has been broken from release. You know, Kazuya players for the entirety of Season 1 refused to accept that Hellsweep Forward 2 wasn't hard. You know, Devil Jin players probably still think their character is unusable. This is really just a Mishima thing, huh? Anyways, downplay is something that is prevalent in all games, except Tekken 8 is probably the only game where downplay actually affects the quality of the game. And I'm gonna tell you how. The Tekken team is mostly comprised of retards, gooners, and petty criminals. The retards balance the game, the gooners create Anna's jiggle physics, and the petty criminals created the Tekken store. This is a team that of course wouldn't be able to come up with an easy and efficient way to balance Tekken 8's gameplay because combined they have the brain cells of a block of Minecraft granite. Except when you hit a block of Minecraft granite, you have the chance of getting flint, which you can use to make arrows, which is useful. Hitting a Tekken dev would just get you on the Stop Asian Hate website. So like I said, these devs don't balance games in a way that any other competent franchise would. Most companies would take data from pro level play and intermediate level play, look up win rates, pick rates, whatever, and identify individual moves or interactions that seemed overtuned and adjust them. In the same vein, if there is stuff that is underperforming, they adjust that based on the data too. These companies are usually also competent enough to have a report system that actually works, so that you don't have to play the same cheater 3 times a week who literally has the infinity gauntlet of cheats. Auto duck, auto low parry, auto throw break, and an electric macro. However, the Tekken team is comprised of retards, gooners, and petty criminals. Therefore, to balance the game and identify cheaters, they direct us to make reports through a website that is made for retards, gooners, and petty criminals. The place where people argue about whether I'm allowed to have 2 dicks and piss in a female bathroom, what shade of pink Violet Myers coochie is this how to scam pedophiles course in itself a scam. The website is Twitter for those of you who aren't familiar with Hell on Earth. This development team wants us to send our criticisms and general feedback and report cheaters to Michael Murray and Harada on Twitter. This development team legitimately balances their game around the opinions of Vanquisher ranks on Twitter, that in one post will be complaining about how broken King is, whilst in their very next post will be conversing about how many frills Asuka's panties have when she rage arts and gives 11 frames worth of upskirt. Now, you may say this is a conspiracy theory. They don't listen to us anyways, but I just have to ask this of you. Tekken 8 comes out. Devil Jin is objectively broken. We can all agree on that. I think rightfully so, we complained on Twitter and he got nerfed. He was still strong nerf though. People on Twitter were still complaining about Devil Jin. He got nerfed again. People on Twitter were still complaining about Devil Jin, even though he wasn't good anymore. He got nerfed again. Now he's unusable. People on Twitter complain, oh, Devil Jin's so bad now. Oh, Devil Jin's so bad. Oh, why don't they just buff him? Why don't they just buff him, Harada? So they buffed him. And guess what, people? They started to complain again. And guess what? He got nerfed again. End of Season 1, Devil Jin players are saying he's unusable. Season 2, fat buffs, 100 damage hell sweep now. Guess what? He's got nerfed again. There is not a single character in this game that has been flip-flopped on as much as Devil Jin. And there is a pattern. Steve, to start Tekken 8, was broken, and not in a good way. He literally just didn't work. For a while there, nobody wanted to admit that Steve did not work and just called it a skill issue. In fact, the devs only buffed Steve when we started using bugs to make our character work. And that's when people realized, oh, Steve isn't good, and took to Twitter, and Steve got buffed. And he kept getting buffed even when all the Steve players were happy with what they had. The people on Twitter were all like, oh, Steve is so bad, unusable. Anyone with a brain cell knew that Steve was just a high skill ceiling character. He was not bad. But in season 2, Steve got buffed so hard. He's practically a top 5 character now. And when people complained he got nerfed again, not to the degree of Devil Jin, but he got nerfed, and in the June patch, I imagine he's going to get nerfed again. Because people on Twitter love talking about characters that they don't play. This is also why the lower popularity characters like, I don't know, Shaheen, the Leos, the Bears, these characters almost never get big changes unless someone finds something is broken and starts an uproar on Twitter. Now, you still may think that this is a conspiracy theory, however, what fanbase do you think has the biggest ratio of retard players to actually good players? It's probably King, right? Like Yoshimitsu is right there, but it's probably King. So there is enough bad King players to basically drown out anyone complaining about King, realistically. King has received nothing but buffs in this game. And the only time King got nerfed is when that one string that goes into Jaguar Sprint was being spammed by every fucking streamer in existence and being plastered all over Twitter. The only time the King players actually couldn't defend their character was when he got nerfed. The Tekken devs genuinely balanced their game with Twitter opinions in mind. And that is fucking horrifying because all you have to do to make your character broken is to downplay the fuck out of them. And I think that pro players caught onto this a long time ago. Because these guys are serial downplayers. Guys like Joker, guys like Knee, these guys will downplay their mains to the grave. Yeah, Knee, who's your season 2 top 5, bro? Yeah, Asuka, Raven, Alisa, Penda. Hello, Knee, hello, you home, buddy? Hello, Brian, hello? Joker, if there was a gun to your head and you had to win one game of Tekken to survive, who are you playing? Not Feng. Probably will play someone broken like Lee or someone else broken like that. He didn't actually say that, it's a bit. But Joker is a serial downplayer, bro. But at least for these pro players, there's actually a competitive advantage for them capping on their character. For the random Joes on Twitter that are dropping their downplay comments, all you're doing is making the game worse for yourselves. And then getting back on Twitter and complaining about something you had a hand in changing. Tekken is the only game where actively downplaying your character affects the actual state of the game. Because this game was developed by retards, gooners, and petty criminals. The simple fact with a game like Tekken is that the players are never happy with what they already have. Like, I legit get on Twitter from time to time and I will see a Jin player complaining about how they should let down 2 counter hit launch again when Jin can already do everything in the game. Like, no matter what character people play, they will always feel like they are playing the hardest character because most people who play this game are Vanquisher mighty ruler level players who don't actually know how to play the game and are hard carried by their character's bullshit. And unfortunately for everyone else, these are the opinions the dev team balanced their game around. Did we have a new dev team now from older Tekken games? You know, the guys who actually made the good Tekken games. Yes. So maybe they'll stop doing bullshit like this and actually function as an actual development studio and not some teenagers making an indie game. But that's enough schizo posting for one day, I think. If you liked the video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, guys.